Hey guys, today I have a book haul to share with you. So let's get going with this book haul. I got 20 books to share with you guys. Some of these books I have already read, but yeah, for the most part, a lot of them have remained unread, but I am very excited for all of them. So I'm just going to go quickly through a lot of these books. I feel like some of them are kind of self-explanatory. And if you are wondering, what the hell is that cute little fluffy purple thing in the corner? That is a Pygmy Puff from Harry Potter, if you don't know. And you can purchase them at the Wizarding World down in Orlando, Florida. I'm assuming they still have these because I bought this quite a number of years ago. And I do have the purple one, and there's a fluffy pink one as well. So I just wanted to add a little bit of color to the video so it's not so bland and boring. But anyway, I digress. The first 4 books that I'm going to be showing you guys, they all come from a series entitled Tales from the Haunted Mansion. And yes, that Haunted Mansion from Disney World in Orlando, Florida, based off of the very awesome, creepy, gothic, atmospheric ride. And these books, I believe there's only 4 in the series at the moment. I don't know if they plan on making any more, but I do have all 4 that have been made so far. So yeah, the first one in the series, Volume 1, The Fearsome Foursome. And then the next one is Volume 2, Midnight at Madame Leota's, based off of the lady whose head is in like a floating glass ball, if you've been on the ride. Then we have the third book, Volume 3, Grim Grinning Ghosts. Try to say that one many times as you can, quickly. And then the last book in the series is Volume 4, Memento Mori. And I definitely can't wait to get to these. They are kids' books. They have pictures in them. They're very silly and absurd and over the top, I'm assuming. But I still wanted to get them because I do love the Haunted Mansion ride so much. So I can't wait to get to these and hopefully have a good time with them. The next batch of books that I'm going to be showing you guys all come from Marvel Comics. And first up I have Volume 4 of the Hawkeye series, Rio Bravo. I've previously read the first 3 volumes in the Hawkeye series. I love the Hawkeye series. It's so good. Just really makes you love and appreciate the character of Hawkeye, which I feel like the movies don't give him very much justice, unfortunately. But yeah, Volume 3 right here. Or sorry, Volume 4. Then we have Volume 5, All New Hawkeye. Then we got Volume 6, Hawkeyes. I'm not really quite sure how these covers are showing up, you guys. I'm trying to hold them up and get them out of the glare of the sun. The sun is not doing these books any justice. And then I have this awesome book that I can't wait to get to, and that is Winter Soldier, the Complete Collection. And just judging off of the cover, it looks like we have Bucky Barnes and Natasha Romanoff, aka the Winter Soldier, and Black Widow. This sounds awesome, you guys. I definitely can't wait to get to this. This should be right up my alley. The next 2 books are part of a series called As Guardians of the Galaxy, and my understanding is that this is a relatively new comic that's come out in the last couple years, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we have the Infinity Armada for this first one. And the second volume is War of the Realms, and I'm not quite sure if there's any more volumes to this series. I'll have to double check. And what's awesome about this cover that really caught my eye, do you see near the left corner at the bottom, there's a toad that looks like Thor? You guys, I want to know what that's about. And also, it looks like Kid Loki is back in this volume, so awesome. I love Kid Loki. Yeah, I don't know too terribly much about As Guardians of the Galaxy other than it sounds like Guardians of the Galaxy, so this should be pretty interesting. Next up, a book I have read and reviewed on this channel, and that is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. And I freaking love this book. Another outstanding hit produced by Ruth Ware, quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. If you don't know what this book is about, it follows a young woman. She sees an advertisement for a live-in nanny position So she goes, she gets the job, and this house that she's going to be a live-in nanny, the house is described as being a smart home. Everything in the home is essentially run by an iPad or a computer system. You just tap something, you can turn on lights, you can turn on TV, you can turn on security, you can turn on the bath even. Every little element of this house you can turn on through an iPad. So on the surface, this young woman, she gets the job. On the surface, everything sounds just peachy and great and just a dream job. But unfortunately, here comes the kids. The kids are not the so great element of the story here. The kids are moody and angsty. They don't want her there. And yeah, in typical Ruth Ware fashion, you get introduced to a mystery, and there's some weird things going on in this house and with this family. And yeah, even our main protagonist, she's holding a lot of deep, dark secrets and things that we don't know about her. And yeah, if you want to know more about my thoughts and feelings on this book, since I did do a review already, I definitely recommend you go check it out, because it was a very, very fantastic book by Ruth Ware. Next up, The Golden Hour by Beatrice Williams. This is historical fiction taking place in the Bahamas during the 1940s, following a young woman named Leonora, who, from my understanding of the plot's synopsis, she works for a magazine, it sounds like, and she's arrived in the Bahamas to kind of infiltrate the inner circle of the rich and wealthy of the Bahamas so she could write up some sort of article for the magazine she works for. And yeah, also during this time period, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, aka Edward and Wallis Simpson, you guys, they are also in the Bahamas at this time, which was primarily a draw for me when I picked up this book, when I found out that the Duke and Duchess of Windsor were going to be making appearances in this book. I don't know the extent of their appearances. I don't know if they are strictly cameos or if they're full-fledged characters. I guess I'll find out. And yeah, Leonora, since she is the main character you're following, she kind of gets into the inner circle of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, and yeah, just some shenanigans happen. Typical, historical fiction fanfare, as you will. I believe there's like a murder investigation that happens. There's a lot that's happening in this book, but that's kind of the general gist of the whole thing, and sounds very awesome. You guys, I am really excited to eventually get to this book, because it sounds all sorts of awesome. I don't know how good it's actually going to be, but it sounds really awesome. This book is called The Xscape Room by Megan Golden, and this book, it's described that all of these co-workers that work together, they're all invited to like this high-rise building of some sort, and as part of a team building exercise, they have to essentially do an escape room. But yeah, something crazy goes on, and all the co-workers, they're stuck with each other, trapped with each other. So yeah, this team building exercise becomes like a legit real thing, and they literally have to escape this building, I'm guessing. So this sounds really interesting, really awesome. I love the idea of escape rooms. They're just so cool. And yeah, I think this is supposed to be some sort of thriller. I'm going to assume someone's going to wind up dying, maybe several people, who knows. Next up is a pretty self-explanatory book title here, and that's Nottingham by Nathan McCarrick. Maybe? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Nottingham. If you know anything about the legend of Robin Hood living, in Nottingham, out there in Sherwood Forest and whatnot. Everybody knows the story of Robin Hood. This is just a historical fiction retelling of it. I'm curious what the twists of this will be, because everybody who's been adapting Robin Hood stories, everybody has their own little twists and turns, to make the story fresh and interesting and appeal to readers. So yeah, definitely can't wait to get to this. I love the story of Robin Hood. Next up is another piece of historical fiction, and that is The Lost Daughter by Gil Paul, and the little subtitle at the bottom of the main title says, "The story of Anastasia Romanov's sister Maria in her fight for love." love. So yeah, just judging off of that, this is a book about the third Romanov sister, Maria Romanov, daughter to Tsar Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra. Historically, we know the entire family was brutally murdered and buried, and yeah, weren't even discovered until like, what, the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. But yeah, there's always been speculation and rumors. Did some of the kids escape? Are those fake bodies? But yeah, we've done forensics. We know that they're all there and accounted for. So it is. It's always interesting when people come up, authors specifically, when authors come up with new historical fiction and always trying to, have a surviving member of the Romanov family alive. And yeah, even though I know they're all historically accounted for, it's like I'm still a sucker for these types of books, because it's like I always have that dream of, oh, maybe one of them did survive. But yeah, this one is more specifically focused on Maria Romanov, the third daughter in the bunch. And it takes place in 1918 during the family assassination, and I'm assuming she escapes, from kind of judging from the title. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe no one lives. Maybe that's going to be the twist of this. No one is alive. It's just going to be a thing of unraveling some connections to the family, possibly, because there is also another setting that I think takes place in the 70s. If I was reading the synopsis correctly, it says it flashes to the 1970s, and some girl, I guess her father is possibly dying. He's muttering something about the Romanovs, and her father probably had some secret love affair with Maria Romanov, you guys. I bet that's where it's going. But yeah, this sounds really awesome. I do love all things Romanov related, Imperial Russia. Next up is another piece of historical fiction, and that is The Last Queen by C.W. Gortner. And this is about Juana of Castile, who was the third daughter of Isabella and Ferdinand of Spain. And yeah, this is a story about how she becomes Queen of Spain and whatnot, and marries her husband. And yeah, some tragedy and craziness happening as well. I'm personally very familiar with Juana of Castile's, her sister Catherine of Aragon, who becomes Queen of England. She becomes the first wife, notoriously, of King Henry VIII. So I'm more familiar with Juana's sister Catherine. And yeah, I don't know too terribly much about Juana and her story and her history, so I'm very excited to learn and discover more about her. And next up is some Philippa Gregory. This is a new book in a trilogy of hers, this first book being called Tidelands. This book takes place in 1600s England. Civil War is running rampant in England at this time. We're following a young woman named Eleanor. Yeah, she is a herb woman. She's great with herbs and medicine. But yeah, at this time in history, guys, the 1600s, any woman who was dealing with medicine and herbs and stuff like that, it was deemed witchcraft, heresy and stuff. So I think we kind of get the general idea where this is going. So yeah, we're following her story during this kind of wild and crazy time in English history. Next up is a book by Stephen King, and this is The Colorado Kid. And you guys, you're not going to believe my luck with this book. This is a book that I've never intended on buying or even reading. I've just not really cared. But here's the story, yeah, guys. I happened to order sorry, not me, my sister actually. My sister happened to order a bunch of books from a Barnes & Noble one day, and she got her package, and there were the books that she purchased, but also at the very bottom of the package that she had gotten was this book. My sister did not order this book at all. Somehow, this book got stuck in her package, got placed in there mistakenly, because I doubt Barnes & Noble would have been just throwing a free book in there, you know what I mean? So yeah, my sister, she actually got this book for free by accident, and we weren't quite sure what to do. We weren't sure if we should be honest, upstanding folks and turn it back into Barnes and Noble. But we were like, you know what? Screw that. We're just gonna keep it. Maybe that was terrible of us, yeah, guys, but it is. It's just a very small book. It's not very expensive anyway, so we didn't really feel too guilty about it, considering how expensive Barnes & Noble books are anyway. But yeah, I've been wanting to read more Stephen King anyway, so I was like, well, she didn't want the book, so I'll take it from her. And yeah, this Stephen King book is about a man who has been mysteriously murdered. They can't identify him, and that's kind of the basic plot of it. It's not too terribly much, but yeah, it's Stephen King. There's probably something weird going on. Next up, I have a book by Tasha Alexander, and this is Uneasy Lies the Crown, and this is part of the Lady Emily mystery series. I have not even started this series, and I've kind of been collecting random books in the series because some of them have sounded interesting to me compared to others in the series, so I've just kind of been sporadically collecting which ones sound interesting to me. Yeah, this follows our leading protagonist. Her name is Lady Emily, taking place in the early 1900s, I think, maybe early 1900s, late 1800s, I can't quite remember. But this particular one, somebody has been murdered in the Tower of London, and their position, their death position, it looks very similar to how King Henry VI of England died, and I'm not quite sure how King Henry VI died. There were all those rumors that the sons of York, being George, Duke of Clarence, and Edward the which one was he? Edward IV, maybe? One of those Edwards, Edward IV, and then King Richard III, those three brothers, kind of those rumors about those three brothers having killed Henry VI, and I know in Philippa Gregory's book, she has the three brothers murder Henry VI, and they like cover his head with a pillow and they essentially suffocate him. I don't know if that's historically accurate, if he was really suffocated like that. So yeah, either way, there's a man who's been murdered in the Tower of London in this book, and it's posed to mimic how Henry VI died, which I'm not quite positive how that is. But yeah, this sounds really awesome. Sounds like a really good mystery that I'll enjoy. And next up is the start of a series that I have been dying to get my hands on and dying to start. And the first book in this series is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I probably just butchered that pronunciation. My edition does not have any sort of plot summary on it, so I can't really quite tell you guys what this book is even about without a plot summary on the back of the book. But yeah, something, like the title suggests, something about Jack the Ripper, this woman who possibly was in love with Jack the Ripper, knows the identity of Jack the Ripper. Yeah, this series is a young adult series, if I'm not mistaken. Sounds really, really awesome. Yeah, I think one of the books has something to do with Houdini, another book has something to do with Dracula. Yeah, they all sound really cool, you guys. I can't wait to get to all of them. And yeah, is that it for this book haul, you guys? That's it for this book haul. In the comments below, any of these books that you guys have read, did you like them? Did you hate them? If you happen to read any of these, any books that I should read sooner rather than later, just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.